Alright, so it's week 1 of the Keeper Battle Association, so we have Theodore Chow of the Edmonton Smokescreen and Blake Thompson of the Detroit Red Wingulls. This is a really great battle, so let's get started. So, Blake leads with his Metagross and Theodore leads with his Garchomp. Blake's not going to like this matchup at all, so he's instantly going to switch into his Mamoswine, which gives Theodore the free opportunity to set up Stealth Rocks. So, Garchomp gets a Toxic off, while Mamoswine is able to set up its own set of Stealth Rocks. Alright, so Mamoswine gets an Ice Shard off, which is going to be super effective against Garchomp. So Theodore, not liking the matchup, went for a Dragon Tail to get Mamoswine out of there. So Blake's Sharpedo gets pulled out, so a really great play made by Blake was expecting the Toxic from Theodore. He swaps back into his Mamoswine and completely negates the effect, which was a pretty nice move. So Theodore, not wanting to take another Ice Shard from the Mamoswine, decides to go into his Blissey to try to Poison Stall the Mamoswine. Mamoswine uses Ice Shard, but it does like absolutely nothing to Blissey, because Blissey is such a tanky Pokemon. Anyway, so Blake doesn't want any of Theo's style tactics, so he swaps into his Gliscor, and Blissey's able to get a Seismic toss off the switch, which does pretty bad damage in all honesty. So Theodore goes for a Protect, just to see what move Gliscor does, but it actually gets a Sword Dance off, which is really bad for Theodore. So I got a free Protect there. So Gliscor gets another Sword Dance off, and Theodore uses Wish. So now Gliscor's attack is now 3 times, which is massive. So anything Gliscor uses will be hit Blissey really hard. But Theodore swaps into his Gyarados, so the Earthquake doesn't affect Gyarados at all, which was a really good swap in by Theodore. And the Wish goes off, so no Stealth Rock damage taken. So Gyarados uses Ice Fang, which takes Gliscor down to less of a little bit of health, and unfortunately Gliscor is not able to get the kill off with this Facade, even with 3 times damage. So Gyarados goes for Ice Fang and finishes off the Gliscor. So out comes the Metagross. Gyarados uses Earthquake, so that does a ton of damage to Metagross, and Metagross is able to finish off the Gyarados using Z Headbutt. So out comes Theodore's Infernape. So Blake, obviously not liking the matchup, decides to go into his Hydreigon, and which is a really lucky swap. Either Theodore predicted it really well, or it just happened, but he used U-turn, which is massive damage against Hydreigon, and goes into his Bronzong. Bronzong recovers everything it's lost due to Stealth Rocks, and I was really impressed with this Bronzong because it became such a tank. It took 2 Fire Blasts really well, so I'm assuming that's a max special defense, max health Bronzong, and it gets the Trick Room off, so Bronzong's able to move faster than the Hydreigon, which is crucial because it gets the Toxic off. And the next turn, Bronzong's able to finish Hydreigon off just with Gyro Ball. And that's Hydreigon down, bringing the score 5-4 to Theodore. So out comes Blake's Houndoom, hoping for a switch, but Theodore decides to stay in for a Toxic. And this is really funny. Houndoom goes for Toxic, which is ineffective to Bronzong, and So unfortunately, that's useless for poor little Houndoom. But anyway, Theodore knows he won't be able to survive any more fire attacks from Houndoom, so swaps into his Blissey to try to get the Toxic Stall off on Houndoom, but Blake won't have any of that and swaps on his turn into his Sharpedo. Alright, this is a kind of a long, drawn-out part of the match, but basically it's just Sharpedo using Waterfall and Blissey using Seismic Toss, and then Blissey using Wish getting all its health back. It takes longer than it should have, but that's how walls work. Alright, so off goes the Wish. The next Waterfall Sharpedo uses won't be quite enough to take out Blissey, but it doesn't matter because the Wish goes off and Blissey gets all its health back. Well, not all its health, but a large portion. Anyway, Blake swaps his Sharpedo out, setting his Mamoswine. I'm not sure why he sent in his Mamoswine, because Theodore's able to get a free Wish off, and Mamoswine just is not able to do much damage to Blissey in the first place. So Blissey uses Protect, which nullifies the effects of the Earthquake. Now Mamoswine can't swap out anymore because the Stealth Rocks will kill it when it comes in, so it has to stay in and be sacrificed. So Theodore, knowing this, swaps into his Bronzong to just negate the effects of the Earthquake. So Mamoswine goes down to poison damage, and that takes the score down to 5-3. So now Houndoom's going to come out and take loads of damage from Stealth Rocks, but it's able to eliminate Bronzong using a Flamethrower. Just takes it out real fast. Anyway, so Theo swaps into his Garchomp, and Blake, probably expecting the Garchomp to come out, decides to swap into his Sharpedo, sorry. Forgot what he swapped into there. Anyway, the Earthquake's enough to take out Sharpedo. Houndoom comes out, and he manages to get a Toxic off before it gets wrecked by Earthquake. And then Metagross comes out to feel the wrath of the Earthquake, and that's game. Alright, I want to quickly thank Kit for letting me be an analyst for this series, and I had this awesome idea. I'm having a lot of fun making my analyses, and I put a lot of work into it. So I hope to make even better analysis for the next matchup I do. And yeah, that's about it. Bye.